In the last slide, we have seen regarding the plastic surgery is divided into cosmetic surgery and reconstructive surgery, and this cosmetic surgery performed on normal structures of the body to improve the appearance, whereas the reconstructive surgery performed on abnormal structures of the body to improve function or approximate the normal appearance. Then we can see in detail regarding the reconstructive surgery. So this reconstructive surgery deals with tumor removal, laceration repair, scar repair, hand surgery, and cleft lip and palate surgery. So if there is a lacerated wound in the face or forehead or somewhere else, and that may cause some malformation in the appearance, we can opt for this plastic surgery. And also following the management of burn wounds, it involves the reconstructive surgery aiming to restore the function and to restore the aesthetic appearance. And in this picture, you can see a burn reconstructive surgery. The basic concerns in burn reconstruction are for the function, comfort, and appearance. And what are the aims? To achieve wound closure, to prevent infection, to re-establish the function and proper ties of intact skin, to reduce the effect of burn scars causing joint contractures, and to reduce the extent of a cosmetically unacceptable scar. So in this picture you can see a reconstructive ladder. There the first is transplant, then microvascular tissue transfer, then local flaps, bioengineered tissues, skin graft, then primary closure, and after that the secondary closure. Techniques of reconstruction include secondary wound closure, excision and primary closure, Z-plasty, skin graft, flaps, tissue expansion, vacuum assisted closure, skin substitutes, implants and prostheses. We can see each one in detail. Secondary wound closure. It referred to as closure by secondary intention. The skin edges of the wound are not sutured together. The wound is left open. Dressings are applied regularly to keep the wound clean, and the wound gradually closes and heals on its own. Okay, this is the secondary wound closure. In this, the skin edges of the wound are not sutured, and the wound is kept open, and dressings are applied regularly to keep the wound clean. Another technique. So we have discussed many techniques of reconstruction, and the first is secondary wound closure that we discussed. Next is excision and primary closure. So in this requiring incision through the deep dermis, that is including the subcutaneous tissue and deeper tissues of open wounds, burns, scar or burn scars, and the burn wound is surgically removed and the edges are sutured together. In case of secondary secondary closure, the edges are not sutured and the wound is kept open, whereas in primary closure the wound edges are sutured together. Next is Z-plasty. This is to improve the functional and cosmetic appearance of scars and used to flatten the hypertrophic scars and elevate the depressed scars. Sometimes നമ്മുടെ എല്ലാവരുടെയും മേത്ത് കാണുമായിരിക്കും. ഇപ്പോൾ നന്നായിട്ടൊരു സ്യൂച്ചർ ഇട്ട് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട് എങ്കിൽ അവിടെ സ്കാർ ഉണ്ടാവും, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ എന്തെങ്കിലും സർജറി ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നല്ല തടിപ്പോടെ ഉള്ള സ്കാർ ഉണ്ടാവും. സോ അതൊന്ന് ഫ്ലാറ്റൻ ചെയ്ത് ശരിയാക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് Z-plasty എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ സർജറി ചെയ്യണത്. ഓക്കെ, so Z-plasty is an effective method of wound regularization since straight line scars draw attention easily. Z-plasty can break up the scar into smaller units and making the scar less noticeable. Okay, so it is to improve the functional and cosmetic appearance of the scars. എന്തിനാ ഇത് ഹെൽപ്പ് ചെയ്യണേ? It is used to flatten the hypertrophic scars. So in this picture you can see the scar formation leads to contracture of the skin under arm. So after the Z-plasty, the of tissue releases the contracture. Next we can see regarding skin flap. A skin flap contains its own vasculature and therefore can be used to take over a wound bed, that is avascular. We have seen the definition of the skin flap in the previous class, isn't it? Flap is a block of tissue transferred from donor to recipient area with its integrated vascularity. Okay, that is with its integrated vascularity. That is the main difference between the skin graft and flap, isn't it? So flaps are tissues that are transferred with a blood supply. That means with the vascularity. Types of skin flap. Random pattern flap is further classified by its movement. That is advancement. That is the classification or transposition and rotation. Random pattern flap. Skin flap includes this epidermis, dermis and superficial fascia, and based on that it is divided into fasciocutaneous flap. That is epidermis, dermis and both superficial and deep fascia is taken. Then next is muscle flap, muscle belly without overlying structures. Next is myocutaneous flap, muscle belly with the overlying skin. Osseous flap means bone flap. Osteomyocutaneous flap means, osseo means bone, myo means muscle, cutaneous means skin. So these three things will taken. Then next is composite flap, contains a number of different tissues such as skin, fascia, muscle and bone. Types of skin flap, another classification, that is local flap and pedicle flap. It is also an example for distant flap. This pedicle flap are those which are transferred to another area of the body, but the vascular attachment is always maintained. That is this pedicle flap. Next is free flap. It is those in which the tissue is completely separated from the body and transferred to another area, and vascular supply is re-established by anastomosing the blood vessels. Okay, in this case, the vascularity of the donor site is not taken, but it is re-established. The vascular supply is re-established. How? By anastomosing the blood vessel, by connecting the blood vessels of the recipient area. So the nursing consideration after a flap. After a flap has been moved, it should be observed for tissue color, warmth and turgor, and be pressed to assess blanching and capillary refill time. So whether there is any complication developed or not, we have to check it regularly. For that we have to assess the tissue color, warmth and turgor, and be pressed to assess blanching and the capillary refilling time. And patients post reconstruction should be kept in a room at higher temperature than normal in order to encourage vasodilatation. Then only the blood supply will be increased. Wet, warm and comfortable. The best advice for postoperative flap care. Remember, wet, warm and comfortable. Next is tissue expansion. So we have seen the techniques of reconstruction. First is secondary closure, then excision and primary closure. Third is Z-plasty. Fourth is what? Skin flap. And then fifth is tissue expansion. What is that? A surgical tissue expander is basically an expandable balloon usually constructed of silicone rubber with a means of introducing fluids at intervals, usually a self-sealing pot. The expander is placed beneath the skin adjacent to the defect and pot situated at a convenient place. You can see the picture, so it will be more understandable. So this is the picture of tissue expander. So there is a pot, with that we will administer some fluids through this sealing port. You can see the port over here, and through that we will inject some fluids, and that may cause the expansion of the device, and thereby the tissue expansion also taking place. So this is achieved by how? Injecting sterile saline through the skin into the pot. When the desired expansion is achieved, the expanded skin may then be fashioned into a local, distant or free flap and used to close the defect. Next is vacuum assisted closure, that you can see in another video because it's already a 10-minute video. So